This episode is brought to you by the Regional Air Quality Council. Set the summer trend. This summer, ditch the work commute and work from home at least one day a week to reduce ground level ozone. You'll be helping the environment and you can stay in your pajamas. It's a win-win. Ozone is created from pollutants like car exhaust and is the Front Range's biggest air quality issue. Want to know which days it matters most? Sign up for summer ozone text alerts by sending Better Air CO to 21000 or sign up for emails at the Simple Steps Better Air website. Learn more ways to help improve air quality on the Colorado Front Range at simplestepsbetterair.org. That's simplestepsbetterair.org. Hey Denver, what's up? Before we get to the show, come join us for a live podcast and party tonight at the Colfax Indie Bash at Champagne Tiger. Doors are at 6 p.m. and the event is free. Just be sure to RSVP at the link in the show notes. We'll see you there. Today on CityCast Denver. While Colorado has been a relative safe haven for the transgender community, the Trump administration's attack on trans rights is seeping more and more into our politics, schools, hospitals, and courts. So how will Coloradans respond? Representative Brianna Titone, the first openly transgender Colorado legislator, joins me to talk about the backroom fight behind the Kelly Loving Act, why Trump is looking into a single gender-neutral bathroom in Denver, and what's next in the fight for trans civil rights. Today is Thursday, July 10th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Representative Brianna Titone, welcome to CityCast Denver.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
So I want to kind of start with just leveling with you because I know you're interested in many things. You legislate on a lot of important issues. But when we wanted to talk about the recent legal challenges to trans rights here in Colorado, everyone said we needed to talk to you. So how do you feel about being that person who has become the face of this conversation in Colorado?
I mean, it's when you're the only person who's an elected person with that identity, you get called on for a lot. I find a lot of responsibility on my role as a trans elected official. A lot of people look up to me as an inspirational figure, as someone that gives them hope. And sometimes people say they're alive because I'm doing this work, and it's a lot. It's a lot to think about that the work that I do is that important because I'm just a regular person trying to just do a job.
Well, I'm just thinking about back to when you were initially elected. I don't want to say that the trans rights conversation was like much more advanced, but we have seen such big pushback and really steps backward even in the last 5 years to where I wonder if that's changed versus when you started versus where the conversation is now. How do you feel being that person and that identity in this position?
That you're absolutely right. When I came out, it was really like around 2015, 2016. And the only real conversations that were being had were in North Carolina. They had the bathroom bill. That was kind of the tip of the iceberg. And there was a lot of pushback. There was corporations came forward and put an end to it. And it was kind of a little bit of a quiescence, very little activity. And I think that what ended up happening at some point was that they being the people who have been trying to push a lot of these issues forward for political gain, they found out that the sports issue in particular was the issue they could get the most traction on because people didn't have a lot of experience. You know, they could appeal to people's emotions about it. They used a lot of buzzwords and phony arguments to appeal to people's sensibilities. But there was really no problem there. But on top of that emotional appeal and the fear that they were trying to wrap it around with was the fact that they were able to make money on it. And this has been the major problem that has been happening, especially in the trans sports area, that people have been making money. There are people who had YouTube channels. They were making $100,000 a month.
Talking about.
Yeah. And YouTube shut them down. It was like a year or so ago because they were selling hate. Mm-hmm. And they were selling ads with all of these things. And why would you not do that if you were making a ton of money? Hey,
yeah.
If you have no conscience and no morals and you're making a lot of money, then sure, that's a good business model. And, if you think about Riley Gaines,
she's
the swimmer who swam against Leah Thomas, who's a very beautiful, nice person. I've met her. I call her a friend now. They were in a swimming match and they both finished 5th.
Right. You're speaking of the trans athlete, and then the other athlete that's
Riley Gaines is the one who's been profiting off of all of this now.
She had a very public Twitter feud with Simone Biles about this topic, I believe.
That's right. More recently. But, Riley Gaines, she was a 5th place finisher in that one race. I don't know how many 5th place finishers end up going on to the Olympics. I don't know what the history of that is. It
feels like small potatoes, though. I think I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's how I when I look at the trans sports issue, I can't help but think about the South Park episode where Macho Man Randy Savage competes as a woman, and I feel like they make fun of everybody, to be fair, but it kind of is how this issue has become, which is very oversimplified.
Yes.
And I think also what percentage of athletes are trans?
Very, very, very small amount. And there was a documentary or some kind of film that was made where they were trying to have men infiltrate into women's sports, and it ended up proving itself to be a complete farce. That doesn't happen. And the narrative that's being done is just a phony pretense.
Well, let's get into one debate specifically that's been recent here in Colorado, because you were co-sponsor of the Kelly Loving Act, which was this big trans civil rights bill at the state legislature this past spring. It got kind of controversial, even on the left, in this moment where some supporters pulled out a few key measures. And I assume you were part of those conversations. What happened?
I think the real fundamental issue was that I don't think anybody disagrees with what the intent of everything in the bill was originally supposed to be, right? But what people were concerned about were the legal challenges. And if you lose some of those legal challenges, that can be very damaging to rights in other places. And so why would we want to really try to take those moves at this point with the courts the way that they are and take those chances? And I think that's where a lot of people got nervous.
Did you get nervous?
I mean, I had concerns as well. I mean, I don't trust the legal system. I don't trust the judiciary's decisions with all the court people who have been packed by the Trump administration. I wouldn't trust the 6 members of the court to walk my dog and bring them back in one piece at this point. So there's a lot of distrust in what could happen. And when you serve up something like a softball that they're going to easily go after, are we sure we can defend that and win? And with a court like this, I don't know if that's the case. But I'm not an attorney. I don't know this stuff. I have to rely on the legal experts who are going to say, we're very concerned about the risk. And we don't think that that's really a place where we want to go right now.
But you're a politician who cares about policy. Where does that leave the movement now?
Well, I believe we should push as far as we can where we know we won't take steps backwards. I mean, politics is not turn on a dime. It's sometimes it's making incremental change. I know many people hate the fact that the increments seem very small, but we have to be strategic, and we cannot take some of these risks too far where the reward is good, but the risk of having things go completely sideways and turn on us in the opposite direction is something we need to consider. So we have to be careful, and we have to tread lightly in some of these areas and do what we can without catastrophic outcomes.
So what are you focused on then when it comes to incremental change under the Trump administration?
I mean, it's a good question. I mean, we've done a lot here. You know, we protected trans health care. We protected abortion care. But, you know, every time that we take a step, it's the bill that the HR 1 bill, for I don't even want to call it what they're saying it is. It's the reconciliation bill for the budget. What they're doing is using money as the extortion to get things done the way they want. And that's where they're going to be putting the pressure on and making it more and more difficult for us to accomplish anything, because we have to have money to do it, and we rely heavily on the federal government to do it.
This episode is brought to you by Denver Botanic Gardens. On Saturday and Sunday, July 19th and 20th, the Lavender Festival is back at Denver Botanic Gardens, Chatfield Farms. From 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., you can enjoy over 2,000 lavender plants at Chatfield Farms Lavender Gardens. The festival is family-friendly and includes live music from local bands, artists with lavender wares for sale, food and drink, barrel train rides and lawn games, and so much more. You can go on a tour of the dye garden and check out weaving and spinning demonstrations, and meander along the walking trails and curated gardens at Chatfield Farms. Oh, that'll be good, actually. I don't think we have any lavender plants in our yard, but I should see, because Greg would maybe like to get some tips. We are learning different types of plants that can and cannot survive in our desert yard, so we'll see. Tickets must be purchased in advance, so get yours today at botanicgardens.org. That's botanicgardens.org. This episode is brought to you by MultiPass. Proudly based in Denver and deeply rooted in the local event and creative scene, MultiPass is an event ticketing platform that handles both ticket sales and memberships. So, say you run a yoga studio that puts on big events for the public, but also has a devoted member base that shows up for regular classes. MultiPass makes it easy to offer special pricing or perks for your members while charging a different rate to non-members, all automatically without needing promo codes or manual tracking. This not only helps you reward your most loyal guests, but also gives people a real reason to check out what your community has to offer and become a part of it. MultiPass is designed to help everyone in the event ecosystem win, not just the platform. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I was running a DIY space right now and I could make a membership program so you could just pay for a membership and go to whatever show you want, it'd be genius. This is genius. I just get back into DIY show promoting, Olivia. Watch out. Learn more at multipass.com. That's multipass.com. This episode is brought to you by Cinema Q. Cinema Q is Colorado's only queer film festival. Put on by Denver Film, this 3-day event showcases a curated slate of the best new queer films, all premiering in Denver for the first time. Enjoy 10 brand new movies along with a collection of shorts, plus parties, special events, film panels, and a marketplace highlighting local queer vendors and artists. Cinema Q features romantic comedies, documentaries, horror, sci-fi, and retellings of classics, all through a queer lens. Grab your tickets for Cinema Q, running August 8th through the 10th at the C Film Center. This is a film festival of gay films, and if there's anywhere in the world I ever want to be, it's amongst queer folks watching movies about queer folks and queer stories and queer life. It's lovely. It's beautiful. For tickets, more info, and a full calendar of events, visit cinemaq.eventive.org/welcome or check the show notes for an easy link.
So I know, like you said, it was fear of legal retribution if these civil rights laws passed, because I'm a part of the Kelly Loving Act that I think was removed. The committee removed a section of the bill that would have made judges in child custody cases consider dead naming, misgendering, or threatening to publish information related to an individual or child's gender affirming care as a form of coercive control in custody proceedings. So that section was taken out. Do you think it was just a concern over the legal side of this, or was it these other, or was it the free speech issue? I just feel like there was a lot of confusion around why all of a sudden this bill changed sort of at the last minute.
Even after we changed the bill, even after that was amended out, they were still using that talking point, and they weren't letting it go because it was something just like the trans sports aspect. If they can find something that resonates, they're going to keep banging the gong and resonate it for everybody to hear over and over and over again. That's how they win a lot of these arguments. They do the say it enough times until it becomes true. That was one of the issues that with that one particular part. It was the parents' rights issue, things like that they were glomming onto. I believe that kind of coercive control is happening. I know it is happening. I've talked to kids who were in homes where they don't feel very safe, and there's not a lot that they can do. They're afraid to even tell their family that they're queer. These are real issues. There are kids who are suffering in homes that should be happy family homes, and they're really not. They're afraid and they're scared. This is the fact. But when we try to help them, we step into this area that is a very difficult, touchy subject that has a lot of different opinions. And again, when it comes to legal decisions that get made, what happens as a result? Is the changes that we make going to make things worse? And like I said, I'm not an attorney. I don't know. I'm relying on the people who are telling me that this is too much of a risk, and I have to listen to what they say because I don't know the answer in that legal aspect.
And I know it's much different for you because you're an adult, but you're dead named all the time. I mean, It happens in the Capitol. It happened in this first lawsuit to come up against the Kelly Loving Act. You were dead named there.
They mentioned me 11 times and dead named me and many other people.
How do you, other than that hurts, what does that say to you, or how do you see that in this bigger fight? Just, is that a tactic? Is it a strategy?
It's bullying. It's like, it's a classic bullying thing. And that's what they're going to do. I mean, I think that the second lawsuit by the athletics company was even more telling. And that one said, how can we sell our anti-trans sports gear without dead naming and misgendering people? And I was like, if that's the only reason why you're selling your athletic gear, maybe
sounds like the quiet part out loud a little bit.
Yeah, maybe you should think of a different marketing campaign, because being mean and nasty and bullying, who does that? When has Coca-Cola ever said drink our Coca-Cola, we're gonna throw a can at your head? I mean, nobody ever says that. It's it's all happy, nice things, dancing. That's how marketing is supposed to be, not being a jerk.
Yeah.
But that's the tactic that they're taking because they're making money on attacking trans people. That's what their whole brand is about. And it goes back to the point that they're making money off of the misery of trans people. And hey, this is getting in the way of me making a profit. So we're going to sue you.
Well, let's talk about some other stories, not about money necessarily, but I wanted to ask you about, since Trump took office, his administration has started investigations into Jeffco schools policy for students' sleeping arrangements on school trips. They're also looking into East High School's one new gender neutral bathroom. I understand this sort of overall anti-woke idea around these investigations, but I have to be honest, like it feels like small potatoes for a U.S. governmental agency to be bothering to look into these. Do you understand what their thinking is with these one-off investigations?
I think a lot of this is just to gin up the locals to become outraged and to do the work for them. You know, they're just pointing out the shiny object for people to go after. And they're, you know, it's easier for a group of activists who are motivated to try to make change in a place where they can't, because the people who are the majority don't agree with that.
Like here in Colorado, generally, obviously, the things that we have passed into law are the sentiments of the constituency that don't agree with these.
Yeah. And if you can bring up these things, it allows them to see who is interested in them. And then when you find out who's interested in those topics, you can recruit them to do other things for you. I mean, this is a pretty common way of finding out who your allies are in different places. And I think that's really what they're trying to go after. I mean, you don't need to do that in Douglas County or El Paso County as much, because you have a lot of people down there that agree with that sort of thing.
Sure.
But when you're trying to cause problems in areas that are blue and going farther blue, you want to find out who the rabble rousers are and maybe give them the tools that they need to rabble more.
I never thought of that strategy-wise, but I see what you're saying, because like you said, Dougco, El Paso, we already know based on how folks vote there that where they maybe stand. But in a place like Denver or Jeffco that tend to be more blue, these are like testing the waters.
I think so. I think that's what it is. I mean, like you said, I mean, why is the federal government doing this? I mean, why are they directing the FBI to find out who's doing gender affirming care? How about the people that are trying to do dangerous crimes to people? I mean, there's so many things that they could go after, but they're going after this. Like that's insane.
So let's talk about the future really quick. What is your vision for this fight for trans rights over the next 3 years of this Trump administration?
Is it that long?
I hate to say.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
We're only like 6 months in.
That's that's a stark reminder. I mean, I've always said, and like I'm in it for the long game, just like they've been in it for the long game against us. That we have to be in the long game to fight back. And the problem is, there's so many social media things that are geared towards environments where there's no moderation anymore. They can say whatever they want. And the bullying is just encouraged. I mean, I think that a lot of the people who troll me on a daily basis on Twitter, they have to be paid because they just do it all the time. They never take a break. And I don't understand how they could do this like without having a job. But we have to be persistent, and we're not going to win it on social media. We need to win it by winning the hearts and minds of people who are willing to understand that that we're good people. And I'll give you an example. Back to the social media thing, as I was getting trashed on the platform I mentioned before, this one person said, well, I went to a coffee constituent thing that she had, and she was smart and had a lot of good ideas. What's everybody making a fuss about? And they didn't have to say that. They could have kept that to themselves, because if you're the person in a group that's not kicking somebody, you get ostracized for doing that. So there's a bit of a risk in standing up for somebody and saying that. But I give them credit to putting themselves out there to say, hey, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
And I think that's where we need to reach people to say, yes, you know someone who is trans and they're doing good things, and this is a problem with the media. This is a problem with a lot of different things. And because of the fear and the intimidation and the extortion happening by the government, people are afraid to give more credence to the trans community because of the retribution that is going to happen. But there are a lot of things to celebrate about what trans people are doing. And the media doesn't show that often. It's mostly the tragedy. It's mostly the getting beaten up. And if we're always shown as punching bags or people who are involved in tragedy, when are people going to see that, hey, you know what? Look at Rep. Titone's record. You know, I've done so many first in the nation bills. I've done the right to repair for farm equipment. And states that are totally going after trans people, they wish they had that. They wish they had the right to repair. And you know what I say? Maybe if you stop persecuting trans people, they could make it happen for you. But you don't want them in your states to help you make it happen. And let that be a lesson to you. You know what? Don't throw people out because they can actually be the person who could save the day. And these are the kinds of things we need to celebrate, right? The poor trans woman, Jax, who was found dead recently.
Yeah.
We've been celebrating her life and all of the things that she's done. And we shouldn't be giving people flowers in their death. We should be giving them flowers to celebrate their achievements while they're alive, because we're not doing that enough. And that is a missed opportunity, especially in a time where trans people are under the foot of the federal government and many other governments of all different levels. And it needs to come to an end by showing people that we're not what they say we are.
Well, Representative Titone, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks very much.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed this show, why not take a minute to tell 5th place swimmer Riley Gaines about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. And thanks to our new neighbor, Alex V., who just joined our membership program. You can join right now, too, at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See ya. All you need to do is RSVP and come out for some good... I'm just reading the thing here. Hold on. Sorry, what did you want me to say? I forgot.